I'm a big fan of the look.
Will you have the jersey on? You won't cover up the jersey, or will you?
Yeah, I'm gonna wear the jersey. I'm gonna rep the jersey. I think it looks good. About to break out some new stuff. You'll probably see a lot of new gear tonight from staff and player alike.
Hey, it's a good day to break the slump too with new gear, and it's kind of a fresh feeling for everybody.
That's right, it is. It's putting on the excitement of putting on the breaking out the City Connects and debuting those today. It'll be exciting. Yeah, you know what? We'll get one today wearing these, and we'll have to petition to wear them tomorrow as well.
What's the latest on Otto?
So he's getting examined right now. We'll have some more details after he finishes that examination there. So later on today, we should have some more clarity on how it goes.
If he were to miss time, I guess how would the second baseman, like his absence?
I think we have personnel here that can fill in the comments and Bobby and Ronnie Simone has played a lot of outfield as well. Grant has some second base in him, so we'll wait. Those go that route. We'll see how Otto is. We feel confident in the guys that we have here that can step up and play.
Hi, Clayton. I'm looking forward to working with you. Obviously, I'm sure Scott will stop working for you. And anyway, let's talk about the first month or so of the season. What have you seen with this team so far? Would you say they overachieved, underachieved, or what do you think? Because I know you have a long year to go down with a lot of younger players and pitchers, and just wanted to see where you assess the team on something that you're going.
I think the parts that have stood out for me that have been very encouraging are how we continue to battle and fight, whether that would be after a tough game and our ability to bounce back. We've seen that within games where we've been able to middle late innings to scrap and keep going and keep playing all nine. So that's very encouraging. I think we're going to have to certainly there are going to be areas I think we can as a group can get cut down some of the balls. I think we have the group that is certainly capable of filling up the strike zone maybe more than we've shown this first month. So I think it's looking at more of that being a blip and a smaller sample of the season and real indicative of guys' ability to do that. So I think at this point I think we're not looking for moral victories either. I think that we feel like that we just examine each game and within that are a stretch of games where we need to improve upon, and we look to do that throughout the course of the season. Guys have gotten opportunities, and there are a lot that have shown some really terrific things, and to put together solid streaks, you just need to kind of have all fronts clicking together to get on a good run. So I think as a whole, happy with the players and staff who just embrace each day as its own, and we're just looking to stack and build upon one day.
And one follow-up question. Let's talk about Sandy Alcantara. How do you assess what he's doing so far? And Max Mayer is your pitcher today. Those are two guys that are obviously going to be a very key part of this team here throughout the year. And I'm sure you have a lot of other guys that I'll talk to tonight with a lot.
With Sandy, it's amazing. I think we have to keep in mind too what Sandy went through. It's a difficult procedure in a comeback. And so with Sandy, the strike throwing and the ability to command the ball hasn't been what he and us have been accustomed to. But I think that is going to be something that's going to just continue to come the more times he gets out on the mound. Not worried about Sandy. I think this is hasn't been the start that he or us have envisioned, but also I think part of just the process of what he's coming back from, and that he's got so many starts left. I believe that is it's going to turn because he's too talented and he's too driven. And then I think Max has been I don't even want to call it a surprise. I think that we all through the off-season when our pitching coaches had conversations with Max and watching him in spring training and the quality of the stuff and the augmentation of his arsenal on top of the confidence that he had there. I think we all believe that Max was going to come out and have a very good year, and he's off to a good start. We've seen a very confident pitcher that's on the attack and has multiple weapons in which to get into the count and also to finish hitters off.
What was the main focus for Sandy on the other guy?
I think it was Sandy was at the end of how many strikes did I throw? I think he realizes that too. That's him and every other pitcher. It's tough in this league to be get strike one, which he's been okay getting strike one, but I think the ability to keep count leverage in your favor, keep hitters a bit more on the defensive. So I think it's just trying to get back to commanding the baseball and putting it where he wants. And he had some runners out there as well today, and he's working on his holds. And the best thing about Sandy, this guy is not going to just settle for what's been going on. He's working to improve every part of his game. at this point, it's, for someone like him who can get a lot of ground balls and get in and do bat on one pitch and get a double play, and keep the guys over there at first as long as you can to get some action at the plate is an important part. So you don't see many major league pitchers come out to a bullpen session and have that type of environment created. I think that's more of a testament to him, his willingness to okay, I'm going to do work on some things, multiple things within this setting. So I think that just shows where he's at and his commitment to not let any part of his team be a cheat.
When you say that, how much of the info was that from Sandy? Was that Sandy requesting to have runners out there? Was that a combination of the two?
It's just in conjunction with Daniel and Sandy. I think this would be a good thing to add to your bullpen today, and certainly a player here wouldn't have to do that. Him or someone else said, I'd rather not focus on that than okay. But I think his willingness to be add that to his practice setting and the value he knows that and the importance that it plays is I think just a sign of a guy who's just doesn't want to be exposed in any way.
Weather is important. What's the next step for them in the rehab?
I think Ryan he'll have another start in Jacksonville. Another rehab outing where he'll up his pitch count. He'll get into the 70s. Get around 4 innings. So just the next step in his adding the pitch count and adding the ups. And with Nick, called 7 innings last night. Brought him here today. Check out, see how he's doing and everything, and then we'll make a determination. In the coming days of what's next with him.
So with Kyle, the line is pretty fluid. The way he's hitting though, could he be that kind of sort of typical number 2 hitter that we're seeing around baseball?
What Kyle's been able to do from an on-base standpoint, as well as some of the impact that he's shown, certainly shown he's got a well-rounded offensive team that he can work it in bat as well as provide some damage. So I think Kyle fits in a lot of places in the lineup just based on who else is playing that day and maybe what the starter, what the bullpen looks like. So I think Kyle has a ton of versatility in his offensive game. He's somewhere in the top middle of our lineup.
Have you noticed anything different in terms of the way he's approached hitting during this hot streak?
I don't think there's anything different about it. I think Kyle has been on a quest since the first day of spring training with recognizing and understanding what the league did to him last year. It always happens, right? They're going to show you and find out where your adjustments need to be made. And our hitting guys, and they're very open, we challenged some of the top of the strike zone with velocity last year, so it's how are we going to just try to combat that, right? It's not that anyone in our league thrives on velocity at the top, but it's, okay, can you just defend yourself there enough, whether it's, lowering what your top is, getting to a point where you can shorten things up and foul some balls off to at least then buy yourself another pitch in the plate appearance. So I think he's been very open to what adjustments he's had to make, and his at-bat quality really, spring training right now has been terrific. So I think he's just someone that is always looking for ways in which I need to, and ways I need to continue to adjust, and that's a sign of a really, it's a good young player that's open to understanding you're always going to have to adapt to something.
Last time out, Clayton Cabrera gave up a bunch of hits. Kind of an unusual amount. He normally don't give any. How does he balance that with also his throwing strikes? Is it the quality of strike for him?
I think he's just continued to throw strikes. And some of it is yes, there are going to be balls in play. There's going to be some days where they do find holes. That's how it goes. Right? If you take your shots and you get 25 or 30 starts in the season, and you commit to counting the strike zone early, continuing to fill it up, that we're going to bet on that more times than not that you're going to have successful outings, be able to pitch deeper into games and have good outings. So I think that's it. The hits, actually, I'm championing it. Clap on the bat, give up hits. If you're giving up hits, means especially early, it means you're in the zone and you're getting people engaged and in swing mode, and we'll take your stuff in the zone at a high rate and bet that the batted ball, luck, and all that is not something that you can be too worried about.
How would you describe the identity of the offense so far? What are the guys trying to emphasize during their at-bats?
I think it's having a solid plan, being disciplined and being stubborn to what your plan is and what the situation or what the the moment of the game is calling for, and to be okay with passing the baton. And this is not a passive. Don't talk to our guys about being passive, and it's just about taking pitches. It's more about swinging at the right pitches, and the right pitches for you in an area might be different than someone else. So having what your game plan is going against that starter or that bullpen arm, and being stubborn to what you're going to get and firing on that, and then you take your shot, take your chances. So, and hopefully that leads to quality plate discipline. It leads to getting yourself in good counts, and then you know what, you just you get your walk and you go on. You just pass it on to the next guy and let him go have his crack. So I think that's what we're trying to get is a relentless one. It's kind of like a 9-on-1 mentality, like all of us against whoever's pitching.
When you took on this job, what did you find out to be the intrigue of this job and what you can develop as a new foundation for the Miami Marlins going forward?
I think what I was very intrigued about is I thought Peter, Bruce, a very strong commitment to what it was going to take for us to become a sustainable contender here and improving our infrastructure and putting a focus on player development. And the talent that we had that was brought into our system, that was already in our organization, that was very intriguing. The chance to have some talented young players all kind of learning some things together at the major league level. So that part was very intriguing, and also just the plan and vision that Peter and Bruce had for where we were going to go as an organization.
Thank you, Clayton.
Okay. All right. Thanks.